So it has been a very eventful last 24 hours with the market and content. So in today's video, we're going to go through all the content that's come out, how the market's reacting, and teaching you guys how you can make some coins early game. So before we do start this as well, if you guys are interested, I do have a free subscriber training guide or a free guide. Normally it's my sub perk, but it is free until the 1st of October. It's got all my investments in there. It's got all the data you can use for trading, which I'll be walking through in today's video. So if you guys are interested, top link is in the description. On top of that, I am streaming 10.5 hours every single day for the first 30 days minimum, and then we'll see how it goes. So if you guys want to check that out as well, I'll be over on my Twitch channel live from 8:30 all the way through to 6:30. So without further ado, let's go and walk through everything that has basically come out in the last 24 hours and how the market has reacted. So without further ado, let's go and start off with the SBCs. As you can see, we've done a lot of icon flipping, and we'll talk a little bit about icon flipping and trading later on. But we're going to first off start about the SBCs, and I guess first off actually move into objectives, because EA has for some reason put the SBC in the objective. Now you may, I first thought it must be because they want you to go and do like an objective S thing along with an SBC thing. But no, it really is, the objective is play one game, the other part is complete the SBC. Now I'm not sure if they've done this because they thought that this might stop it being leaked. Obviously, SBCs have been so renowned for being leaked, and arguably people would say it ruins the game, and maybe they thought, well, if we release it as an objective, maybe it won't be leaked. But I'm not quite sure why they've done this, I'll be honest with you, because of course the objective is literally play one game, and other than that, it is an SBC. Let's go and walk through the card just whilst we are here. Now, regarding player roles, he's got Flashback ++. Now, the problem is, I don't believe this is going to be, I don't believe this is currently a popular player role to have. As in, people are very used to either having attacking wing backs, which is where you do overload ball side overload or something like that, or you just go and have a fullback. But to have a Flashback ++, I don't think that's overly desirable unless the meta is going to go and change. Likewise, playstyles, he already had the vast majority of these, but they did go and add Relentless and, what's the other one, like blocking. So, Jockey, that's it. So, a little bit of an upgrade there. Regarding stats, his stats are quite nice. Obviously, he's had a massive pace boost on it, well, a relatively decent pace boost on his card, and he's just had stats added and taken away a little bit everywhere. Now, regarding his positions, he can go and play left back, CDM, and centre mid. So, it's a nice little change from his previous card that can only play centre back and left back. The problem is, if we go and look at his stats, I wouldn't exactly say he's too favourable for a fullback. Pace is still very, very prominent in this FIFA, and I do think you're going to get burnt with 84 pace. It's a bit weird because if they had this guy's main position as in showing like a CDM as centre mid, I think it'd be more demanded, because as a left back, he's just not amazing. But as a CDM as centre mid, with Relentless as a playstyle, now he doesn't have any like roll pluses, but obviously he can go and play in the CDM as centre mids. He's got a really nice card. Now he's not so much box to box, his shooting's looking a bit rubbish. He's got no finesse shot basically on him whatsoever. He's got a bit of a power shot. Apparently power shots are slightly the meta. But so I wouldn't want him being too far off the pitch. But regarding being a centre mid or CDM, looking really good. High defending, really high passing, decent dribbling, decent pace. Physical is a little bit low, but I don't think it'd be too much of a problem. So yeah, the card is coming in very, very nice. And as I say, even though they show it in objectives, it is actually an SBC. If we head over here to the player SBCs, and then, if we head over here and it's under the Flashback upgrade, this really confused me. Because when I saw this, I thought, that's a generic SBC, like one of these. Weirdly enough, yesterday we didn't actually get any generic SBCs. So both the days prior the official Ultimate Team Edition release, we got generic SBCs. We didn't get a generic SBC on the release. I thought it was a bit weird. But yeah, so the David Alaba squad needs a team rating of 86 and a team rating of 87. This is the exact same requirements as De Bruyne, and it's actually coming at the exact same price. Initially, this SBC was only 90k. It's actually risen up to 130k since. De Bruyne last year came out at about 130k. So very, very similar price. Now, when it initially came out, I did go and ask my chat. I said, "Chat, are you going to go and do this SBC? Because it's good to get a bit of community feedback when understanding if there's anything going to rise." And I'll be honest with you, the general consensus was that people weren't really going to complete it. And I thought, well, maybe my Twitch chat are the sort of people who'd complete the De Bruyne. I said, "Chat, did you complete the De Bruyne last year?" A lot of people were like, "Yeah, I completed the De Bruyne last year, but I'm not going to go and complete the Alaba." And as a result, I was like, okay, well, I understand where you guys are coming from. I don't personally think Alaba's as desirable, so we're going to hold off buying fodder. If you want to go and buy fodder, go and buy 87s and 88s, because that's what the best for De Bruyne. But sadly, in that aspect, I guess me and my community were wrong, because actually he was very heavily completed. So let's go and show you guys some of the market movements that we went and saw. So the first one we saw fodder rise. Now, just like the KDB last year, not all fodder rose. For example, we can see 84s. 84s did absolutely nothing, and last year 84s didn't do anything. 84s only went from 1.2 to 1.6k within a 4-day window. So we move on to the next rating, 85s. Now 85s did rise for KDB. They weren't the best performing, but they did rise. And we can see right here that the 85s went from 2.5k, went up there to 4k, back down here to 2.6k, but these are going to consistently keep on rising. I'll talk a little bit later about when these guys are going to rise into. Move on to the next one, 86s. These guys went from 4 up there to 5k, back down there to 4, and they're already back up to 5.5. Then move on to 87s. 87s did very well. They were 6k before the SBC, rose up there to 8k, plateau there at 8k, and now they're already up at 9k. Next position we're going to look at is going to be 88s. We can see these guys went from 8.3 all the way up there to 12k, and now they're up to 13.5. We can now see 89s. 89s went from 13k up there to about 17k, and now they're currently 18k. And finally 90s. Now 90s didn't really do that well. They went from 28 up there to 30, and they're currently holding 31. So the most optimal rating to go for would have been 87s and 88s. It was the same as last year. It was the rating of the highest rated SBC plus 1. The reason these are the best is because people obviously have loads of low rated fodder, so more likely than not they're going to need the high rated fodder to complete the SBC rather than the low rated fodder. Now, even though these guys have had really high rises already, I don't think we've actually seen the last of it, because we saw the same sort of thing last year. So if I can go and show you Renard's card last year, there we go. Renard actually didn't just rise for one day, she actually rose, and again this was for all fodder, they rose for 1, 2, 3 days and then plateaued. So they started at 8k, ended up at 18k. So they doubled over 4 days. Well, if we look at this, again, Renard went from 8k to 13k day 1. This is very comparable. She went from 8k to 13k day 1. So even though, again, my Twitch chat and I guess I didn't think the SBC would be as desirable, therefore fodder would have been a good investment, they've actually done the exact same trend as last year, where they've gone from 8k to 13k. But this shouldn't be the end of it. In fact, we actually think they'll go from 13k all the way up there to 18k. So like I've put in my, again, the trading guide at the moment, I actually think that you can go and invest in 85s, 6s, 7s and 8s, and you're just going to go and sell them Tuesday pre-6 PM content. Because although I probably would favour the meta cards over going with fodder, if you guys want to go and invest in fodder, they'll rise until Tuesday. Because at the moment they are following literally K for K, the exact same trend as KDB. Now, why do they peak on Tuesday? Now, I can see why they peak before Thursday because of there being Division Rival Awards. I can maybe presume that's maybe when they up the fodder, or they, maybe the SBC expired then, because I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. But last year they did seem to peak on Tuesday, and again, I don't think we've seen anywhere near what they're going to rise up until. They should basically double from the price they were. So, for example, Little should go from 4k to 8k. At the moment, she's just under halfway there at 5.6k. So, the first little thing that moved for Alaba, and so they should keep rising. Now we're going to have a little look at some of the link investments. So not only does fodder rise because people are using fodder to complete the SBC, but link investments can rise as well because people are obviously linking Alaba into their team. So let's have a little look at link investments, mainly Real Madrid players, and see how different prices did. Now, originally people did think the Alaba would come out as an objective, but as an objective, as we know, not an objective that costs 130k to complete. So people as a result did actually go and buy some of the cheap Real Madrid players, anticipating that you'd need to go and use them to complete the objective. So what we saw yesterday, we saw them rise from 1.7, they peaked at 2.6, they then weren't needed and went down there to 1.7, but he's actually back rising again and back up to 2.6. We can see this with Olga Carmona as well, went from 2.6, 3.5, back down there to 3, and now she's back up there to 4k. We then can look at the expensive cards like Mendy. We can see that Mendy dropped going into 6 PM down to 90k, but he's already rebounded to 120k. We then can look at Rodrigo. Rodrigo is the best rise. He went from 100k, he's already up to about 140k at the moment. Move on to the next card, Courtois, 36k. This is actually someone I tipped yesterday at, what did I tip him? Tipped him yesterday at 42k. He's already, and that was just literally yesterday night, he's already up at 47k, risen from 37k there. And then we're going to go and look at players that we thought would have actually gone down because Alaba was going to go and replace them in the centre-mid and CDM position. They didn't actually go down in the end. For example, Llorente, who was 18k before the Alaba came out, and now since this morning has been rising up to 21. I don't necessarily think Alaba's the reason he's rising. I'd say it's more just the whole market is still rising. We'll talk about it a little bit in a minute. De Jong rose from 16, he's nearly up at 80. Arguably a little bit of a link investment to Danjuma, but we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, these were some of the link investments and some of the players who we thought would replace, but they kept on rising and rising. These players will literally keep rising with the rest of the market, but they should outperform the market because, you know, let's say Courtois was rising anyway, right? If we look at the last 3 days, I mean, as of yesterday morning, he was naturally rising and rising and rising anyway, but now he's rising higher. And again, basically this is more so for Rodrigo, right? If we go to Rodrigo, we go look at the last 3 days, like this guy's naturally rising anyway, but the rate he's rising now, as of Alaba being out, should be faster and faster, meaning, in theory, even though he's very inflated already, Rodrigo should still be a really good investment. Now, the one worry I have this year compared to previous years is we'd say, you know, well, the demand for Rodrigo is very unlikely to change. He's likely to keep being demanded. The only worry is EA's putting emphasis on La Liga F and Spanish players this year. And because they're putting emphasis on those players, the worry is that what if they're going to release a right wing or a striker that replaces Rodrigo, and because everyone's bought him recently, it means he'll crash more. That's a bit of a worry, I would say, with buying these guys who are already very inflated, anticipating the demand to keep on continuing, is that they're also more volatile to crash if they do go and get replaced by an Evo, an Objective, or so on and so on. So that has been that is that. Let's have a little look. The other SBC we did go and get as well was Danjuma. Danjuma not really causing any waves in the market whatsoever, and the reason I can tell he didn't cause any waves is because this SBC needs one Netherlands player, which is a bit of an awkward requirement. But if I go and show you even like a Netherlands piece of SBC fodder, they just didn't rise. If I can, nope, am I wrong? I guess they did rise, sorry, but they're back down again. So yeah, I say I'm not the. I'll be honest with you. I did actually think going into this that she didn't rise, but that's interesting that she rose initially and then crashed. Do you know what? Actually, at like 1.2k, she actually could potentially be a good investment again. As I got a bit mugged off because I did actually load this up at thingy. But as I say, 84s didn't rise, which is another indication that it didn't rise because of course both squads either directly need 84s or indirectly need 84s. De Jong did rise as a bit of a link investment, but again, cards of De Jong's price would have been rising anyway. But he didn't really seem to go and crash the likes of La Liga strikers. For example, I think Correa has stayed extinct, even though he's being used for an Evo. Yeah, Correa stayed extinct, so, you know, I don't think Danjuma is really causing movements in the market like we've seen De Jong cause movements in the market. But definitely a demanding card. I mean, if we look at the card, yeah, I mean, it's very 101 starter card, high pace, okay shooting, okay dribbling, okay passing. In the end of the day, this SBC is costing you 32k, so if you've got a bit of untradeable fodder, it probably doesn't hurt to go and complete. But yeah, there's Danjuma. As I say, not really causing as many market movements. Now, regarding evolutions, we didn't go and get anything new yesterday. We are favourite to go and get some new evolutions soon, but yeah, nothing new yesterday apart from this. Now, it's quite funny. This is literally just a cosmetic Evo, but it is 35k or 400 FIFA points. Hey, I guess if you get a really nice and tradable player, maybe you want to go and put them in. Now, the interesting thing with this as well, and this is with all these cosmetic ones, is even though, let's say sometimes these will come out being very cheap, a lot of people go, well, they don't cost anything, I'll go and put my players into it. But what you've got to understand is even when you go and put your player into a cosmetic Evo, you go and make that player untradeable. Now, I think there might be a glitch about if you put a tradable player in an Evo and make it untradeable when it becomes an Evo. I think if you quick sell it, bring it back on quick sell recovery, I think then you can go and list it again. But yeah, do be careful about putting players into cosmetic Evos because you're basically making your players untradeable, which means you are losing coins because you then don't have access to those coins. But yeah, apart from that, there was no brand new Evo. As I say, we'll talk a little bit later about the Evos that are coming out. For example, this one, right? Where, he's not getting an upgrade whatsoever, but he gets a bit of a shine. But now his card becomes an untradeable card. So do be careful with that right there. So no Evo, but we did go and get ourselves an objective yesterday. If we go to the seasonal, we went and got ourselves Robert Sanchez, who is apparently has 3 heads. So yeah, very, very easy objectives. Concede no more than 1 goal in 5 games on semi-pro. Score 3 finesse shots using a Prem player. Score 2 goals in 4 separate games, and win 7 matches whilst having 6 Spanish. Now, if this was in Rivals, or if this was in maybe the new game mode, the new friendlies game mode, sorry, they're pushing a bit more, then maybe Spanish players would have gone up, but there just generally was no movement whatsoever. Like Adama Traore arguably would have been the most popular player, being a Prem player, being a Spanish player, and there was just no movement on this card whatsoever. So as a result of there being no movement, it just kind of shows to me there's either not much demand for it, or because it's in objectives, why would you go out, because it's in squad battles, why would you go out there and spend a crazy bit of money? Now it was quite interesting to see, well, you know, there's obviously quite a lot of 83 rated goalkeepers in the game. So it was from the Prem. So it was quite interesting to see, did he actually have any impact on them? It does seem to have had a bit of an impact. For example, Nick Pope was rising going into 6 PM from 8k to 9k. And actually since Robertson Sanchez coming out, he's gone back down there to 8k. So if you've got any 84 rated or lower rated goalkeepers, I do imagine they would have taken a bit of a hit with the likes of Robert Sanchez. That is the objectives covers. Now let's go and talk a little bit about how the market reacted. Yesterday, the market on the whole was very, very progressive. I mean, it followed the exact trends we thought they would. It followed the same trends of the market was very low in the morning. It then rose to about 3-4 PM. It then dropped then rose to about 3-4 AM. It then dropped about 5-6 AM because that's when NA got the FIFA points from getting the Ultimate Edition. And then it rose from 5-6 AM. I mean, it was anticipated to only rise to about 10 AM/midday because across the board, that's when players peaked for the daily average yesterday. But actually the market, I mean, I guess it kind of did. You can see it kind of picked up there, a little bit of panic selling going into 6, and then it rebounded again. But yeah, I mean, a lot of players didn't really follow that trend. Like, for example, Van der Ven, you're not really seeing, like last year, we'd see this card go up to maybe like 46k round about midday. And then what it would have done is drop down to 40k before 6 PM and then maybe go up. But we didn't really see it drop going into 6 PM. It's nothing really to worry about. It's just showing a slight difference to the hour-to-hour trend. But players are showing the same. They're showing the same trends regarding day-to-day, where every single day these cards are rising and rising and rising. So there's the likes of Van der Ven. Now, the cards that are going to be performing the best are going to be your 40 to 80k gold cards. The reason these cards perform the best is because across the board these performed the best last year. Why do 40 to 80k gold cards perform the best? Let's go and look at the 40 to 80. There you go. The reason 40 to 80k gold cards perform the best is because these are what everyone's upgrading to, but they're not packing. I'd kind of say cards 10k and under are now favourite to drop every day between now and the full release. Cards 10 to 20k are favourite to drop quite slowly, holding their price between now and the release. Cards 20 to 30k are now favourite to slowly rise between now and the full release of the game. Cards 30 to 40k, again, near enough the most optimal sort of investments, as in they'll near enough rise the most. Cards 40k to 80k, this is the golden range in players that should rise the most between now and the full release of the game. Cards 80k and above, the further you get away from 80k, the lower, I guess, percentage rise you'll see between now and the full game. If you want to go and buy cards above 80k, you're either going to go and buy Team of the Week cards, or you're going to go and buy icons for the best return. And I'll talk a little bit more about that investment in a bit. But yeah, just showing you as well, Griezmann potentially also being pushed by some of those La Liga players. Has gone up there from 80k, and he's now gone all the way up there to 110k. And again, the market should rise every single day until the 26th. Now, there are some interesting trends regarding some of the top players last year. We did see a bit of panic selling. You can see right here, Van Dijk was around about 500k. What were we looking at? Like yesterday, very early morning. And then he crashed all the way down here to 300k. The reason for this is because this again would have been the FIFA point supply and the NA supply. Well, he crashed going into 6 PM. Then even though 6 PM gave us Alaba, it didn't really cause any panic selling, which means Van Dijk was able to rebound from 300k, and he's actually rebounded all the way to 370k. I don't expect to see any more crashes like this. This just came because of all the FIFA points. If there are crashes, well, what we can see is, you know, if a car crashes heavily going into 6 PM, buy them before 6 PM, as again, he's already rebounded 23%, which is good. Same thing happened for Haaland, where his 500k crashed with the FIFA points, went down there to around about 300k, 310 being his lowest, and he's nearly already rebounded there to 400k. So just a little heads up that if you see a lot of crashing going into 6 PM, as long as the content isn't too crazy, don't get me wrong, Alaba wasn't bad, but it wasn't like an icon SBC, it wasn't a hero SBC, then the market was able to go and rebound. So yeah, just going back to the cards who are about 40 to 80k, I recommend buying. The best players that I have down as Van der Ven, Inform Adeyemi, Isaac Barella, Saka, and Courtois. As you can see, some of these players are already picked up. I think Courtois has already picked up, Saka's already picked up. I think Barella, Isaac, Adeyemi, and Van der Ven are still buyable. But yeah, these are cards that you could have bought last night. Some of them have risen since last night, some of them are still holding. So yeah, those are favourite to go and be the best thing. Now, if you guys do want to go and get yourself cards above 80k, again, my recommendations would either be looking at informs or icons. Now, regarding picking up icons, what you're looking for is you're looking for icons who are around about half the price of what they peaked at the beginning of the game last year. Now, that sounds kind of awkward, so let's go and just walk you through it. So, let's say you've got 200k to go and buy an icon. What you're going to do is you're going to throw in this filter right here. You're just going to go icon 200k. There you go. You're going to go and search this in, and you're going to go and scroll to the 59th minute, because you'll probably get better deals closer to the 59th minute because these cards have just been listed. So now what you're doing is you're just going to have a little browse basically, and you're looking for icons that, again, are half the price of what they were at the beginning of last year. Now, I wouldn't recommend buying any new icons this year, who are new to FIFA this year. I wouldn't recommend buying any icons who are new to last year. That's because there's always a premium on the new icons. For example, the first year Torres was in the game, who was 700k. Second year Torres was in the game, who was 400k. So as you can see, he dropped significantly the year he wasn't a new icon. So you're looking for icons that have, again, been in the game for a little bit. So let's say we're going to go and grab, Bobby Moore's not going to be a great example. Let's go and grab, Shevchenko isn't a good example. Maybe we go and grab Lineker. Lineker might be a little bit close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Footbin for this, because Footbin's better than FootGG for this. So I'm going to go and type in Lineker. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Generations. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and click on Lineker's card last year. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and see how much he was at the beginning of last year. So I can press 1 month and then click on that. And I can see that Lineker was about 170k. So ideally I'm not going to pay anything above 90k for Lineker. So that Lineker I'm not going to go and buy. Now there isn't really too much of a hurry to buy these cards. I mean, I'd try and buy them sooner rather than later. But you don't have to go and buy cards, within 10-20 minutes. Like, you can give it a little bit of time to browse the market and pick up some deals. There you go, like that Lineker right there. It's a bit of a better deal. Again, I ideally wanted to get around about 90k, and I'm sure you probably would have been able to get some Linekers around about 90k. So again, let's have a little look at Coman. So we're going to head back over to Footbin. Going to type in Coman. We're going to go Generations. So again, let's have a little look. What was Coman at the beginning of last FIFA? Coman at the beginning of last FIFA was 240k. So you'd be looking to pick him around about 120k. Again, you can win these cards on bids as well. So this 145k one isn't too bad. Sadly, this year you can't press compare price on the market. So, and for the people who are interested, Heroes didn't perform as well as Icons, so I do recommend going for Icons over Heroes. So, now we're on the topic of icons. We've been doing a lot of trading as of recently. I mean, I can show my champs list is looking pretty stacked. We've got ourselves some Shevchenkos. I bought yesterday for 120k and under to make myself a nice little 30 and 35k profit there. Picked up this Suka for 110 and under. Picked up Baresi for under 120. Flipped him for 140. Picked up loads of these gold cards. Now, all these gold cards actually did have shadow on them. For example, picked up Modric earlier for 10k. Flipped him for 16k. Yeah, all these gold cards did have shadow, but when you do sell cards, it does remove the shadow. So my champs list is currently looking like this. A few cards we didn't able to sell on. I can show you that my watch list at the moment is looking a little bit like this. Picked up a bunch of cards here with shadow. And again, if I can show you my unassigned at the moment, that's also got lots of deals. So I'll get around to listing them. I've just been a little bit busy prepping the video and all. So James Hughes, for example, just saw me sell at 7.5k with a shadow. I picked up this one here for 4.1k. So that's a nice little easy 3k. I don't know if there's any other examples here of cards I've literally just sold. I mean, Lima I was selling at 9.9k. So we're going to start with shadow trading, walking through how to shadow trade first, and then we'll talk about how to icon trade. So to shadow trade, what I recommend doing, or the filter I've been going for, is going to be gold rare, shadow, 20k buy now. Now the reason I put a 20k buy now in is because I'm willing to shadow trade with anyone worth up to 20k. What I'm going to do in this method, I'm going to search it in and I'm going to go and scroll to the 59th minute. Now if you guys are interested, if you jump on the web app, you can actually scroll to the 59th minute way faster on the web app than you can on the console. This is due to the web app having 20 cards per page. The web app, more likely than not, your computer will have a better processor in it than the Xbox or PlayStation. On top of that, it has to process less. And unlike the web app, they just have to process like a 2D image. On here, they have to process a card that shimmers a bit and it does this little flash every now and again, like the glimmer. So because it has to do all that, it's just slower scrolling, so it takes longer. Now, other things you can also do is you can lower the buy now to 10k if you want. You can sometimes, what I do is put a minimum buy now of 5k. But what you want to do is you want to get to around about the 59th minute, because the 59th minute is when new cards are going to get listed. Now, once on the 59th minute, what we're looking for is we are looking for rare gold cards with a shadow who are only a maximum of 1k more than they are without a shadow. So let's go and get to that 59th minute and see if we can get a nice example. So Walsh, for example. Now, she's not the most desirable card in the world, but I can assure you that she would sell. So what I'd do is I'd head over to the likes of foot.gg, because their price is the most up to date at the moment, and I'd go and see what is Walsh going for. Walsh is going for 3.1k. Therefore, the most I'd pay for her would be 4.1k. So if I want, I could go in for a 4.1k bid, and if I win that, happy days. Otherwise, it's not the end of the world. So there we go, we've got Balde here. Let's have a little look what Balde sells, what Balde sells for without a shadow. Without a shadow is 2.3, so I wouldn't really want to pay above 3.3. So let's have a little scroll along there. Ideally, we're going to get a nice example. Not looking to buy strikers, basically not looking to buy attackers. You're looking to buy defenders or midfielders. Can we get a nice example in this run? If not, we'll just show you something we bought earlier. And again, you can try and win these cards on bid. Let's see, 9.3. Sadly, nothing here. All right, we're going to use Kimmich as an example, and we're going to make up a theoretical card that's popped up. So Kimmich is without his shadow. He is 7.5. So let's say that Kimmich popped up there for 8.5k. If he popped up there for 8.5k, I'd go and buy him, because he's only 1k more than he is without a shadow. Now we've bought him for 8.5k, we need to see what we can sell him for. There's a few ways of selling the cards depending on how urgent you are to go and sell them. The first thing would just be going selling them for the cheapest on the market. So for example, if we bought him at 8.5k, we could have gone and listed him for 12k, meaning there's a 3.5k difference. 3.5k difference, making myself a nice little 2.9k profit after tax. But we could also do something and say, do you know what? I'm happy to gamble that both these Kimmiches are going to go and sell on. And therefore, rather than selling it for the cheapest Kimmich, I'll go and sell it for the second cheapest, the third cheapest, or the fourth cheapest. So what do we have here? So we've got one there for 12.5, one there for 12,250. So instead of selling it for 12, I could go list it for 13, because I'm happy to gamble that these two Kimmiches will sell on. And as a result, you basically get more profit. You're basically waiting for a fluctuation, waiting for a lazy buyer. Because in the end of the day, Kimmich could be a semi-demanded card. Obviously no one's playing him in right back, but people play him in CDM and centre mid. Therefore, consistently, this card's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down with a shadow. And that's how this method works really well. Because what I actually do provide in the gut trading guide is I provide a spreadsheet with absolutely everybody, or absolutely every player that I've gone and sold on. So if I can go and load up the spreadsheet, again, exclamation mark guide, it's all on there. I provide a spreadsheet of everyone I sold on. So what I do is I keep yesterday's price whilst I'm gathering prices for today. So this is what everyone was selling for yesterday in the dark blue column, and in the light blue column is what I've seen or sold everyone for today. So you get brand new updated data every single day. If you don't have data from today, you can use yesterday, but take it with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, the data from today. So for Gvardiol, for example, if let's say you either buy Gvardiol or you're not quite sure what Gvardiol goes for, you can head into the trading guide, see what, again, this is the price it sells for with a shadow, and therefore you're looking to buy it for that price. And again, yesterday we must have had about 40, 50 players that you could have gone through, and either once you're on the 5th, 9th minute, check the price, or once you've won the card as a deal. And you can go in these deals as bids, you can go in these cards as buy nows, and once you do win them, you just got to relist them over and over again. It's not really a case of them selling instantly, it's not really a case of them having to sell the first time, because if they sold instantly or they sold the first time, more likely than not, you wouldn't have been able to buy the card in the first place if they were that demanded. So the demand will just basically consistently fluctuate between there being lots of supply to there not being lots of supply. So you kind of got to be patient with this method, but in general in FIFA, you've got to be patient. And that moves us on to the next method. Now I recommend shadow trading anywhere from about 10, 20k and above. Now once you get to about 300-400k, which you can do quite easily within maybe a day or two of shadow trading, you'll be able to do some icon trading. Now for icon trading, a lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people icon trade with what's currently on the market, which is kind of the wrong way of doing it. How you need to icon trade is you need to icon trade with what the cards have sold on in the past. But how am I going to know what cards sell on in the past? Well, let's show you guys how the method works. So for this method, what we're going to do is we're just going to use icon. We're going to put the buy now to the amount of coins I have. So for me, it's 440k. I'm then going to go and search this in, and I'm going to go and scroll to the 59th minute. Shouldn't take very long. Again, if you're on the web app, you can scroll to the 59th minute faster than you can on the PC. On the console. So let's go and get to that 59th minute right now. And then let's see if there's anything. Now once you get to the 59th minute, you're either going to know if something's a deal, or you're going to have to go and learn if something's a deal. So let's say, for example, if we could get a deal, I don't think there is. Let's say, for example, I think, okay, I want to see if this actually Cole's a deal. What I'm going to do is head over to foot.gg. I'm going to go type in Cole, and it's going to go and show me Ashley Cole. I'm then going to go and click on this, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to scroll down just below all these prices, and we've got something called recent sales. Now recent sales shows me what the card is sold for, not what it's been listed for. And the nice thing about this is I can basically find, I'm looking for like a high price that he sold on quite consistently. So obviously he's gone down there to 220k, but here he's up to 550. Here he's up to 250, sorry. Here he's 240. So from this I can see that he basically goes from down to 220k and then up to 250k. So ideally what I'd be doing is I'd be looking for him on snipes or bids around about 210, 215, and then I'd be selling him for 250. So that card, for example, just isn't a deal. So let's go and put the filter in and scroll to 59th minute again. So again, we're going to scroll all the way here to the 59th minute. Take a second or two. I'd say we've already flipped 7 icons in the last day, and then we've also still got, actually no, we don't have any deals waiting to sell on. Can we get any good examples? Zanetti yesterday, by the way, went from like 220 to 340, back down to 240. That was a crazy fluctuation. Lineker, do you know what, we were talking about Lineker earlier at 110. He's already getting to a better price. Baresi we flipped yesterday. Don't think there's anything good here. I mean, we'll go and check Baresi. Let's have a little look. I did sell Baresi overnight. Also, when you do go and get these cards, if you are going to bed overnight, list them up for 6 hours overnight. Every single one of my icons when it's sold on overnight. Baresi, I mean, he's got 220, but let's be realistic. That's a very abnormal price. I wouldn't go for that. I'd say he goes for about 140. So I'm looking to get them around about 10-15% cheaper. So if you sold at 140, I'm looking to get that about 15% cheaper, which means I'm looking to buy him for about 119. And then I can make 10% profit on him, which would be 14k. And that is the second way I'm trading. Basically what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to do lots of shadow trading, and anytime I have maybe excess of like 200-300k, I'll then go and pick up an icon deal. Or alternatively, if my champs list is starting to get full with shadow deals, then I'll do it with icon trading, so I can let my champs list breathe a bit, sell a few cards on, and recoup some coins basically. So those are the 2 ways that I'm trading. Now to end the video off, we are just going to talk through what's been leaked in the last 24 hours, because there's a few things to react to. Now, the first thing that's been leaked is that they're saying about Haaland, but I'll be honest with you, I don't really believe it, because, I mean, EA literally said we're not going to get Haaland. EA said with when the POTM voting came out, they said the Player of the Month winner of this campaign will not receive a special card item in FC25. So for them to now say that Haaland's going to get a POTM, I don't know. I don't really believe it. Maybe they do. EA's probably gone against their word 101 times, but it's hard to believe that they're going to go against their word with something like that. The second thing that's been leaked is a Cam Evo. This got leaked yesterday. We did think it would have been released yesterday. Friday's a content day, but no, it didn't come out. If you do want to go and invest for this Cam Evo, the investments I recommend are Fati, Xavi Simons, and Solopsai. Be aware that Solopsai has only got a 6k price range. Xavi Simons has an OK price range. Fati's got a 5k price range, but it's okay. All the investment prices for these are in the guide. So again, head over to the guide, head over to the investment sheet, click on it. And if you scroll to the far right, you can see we've got ourselves the leaked Cam Evo investments. We've got pre-team week 2, leaked Cam Evo investments, a little bit talking about Austrian managers, and a little bit talking about meta cards there. So yeah, the cards we like there are Fati, Xavi Simons, and Slobshy. And that's... Oh, and then we got ourselves some objectives to come next Friday. Presumably Road Finals next Friday. Maybe they release it early on a Monday. We've seen that happen in the past. I don't think there's much to react to with Andre and Lo Celso. Yeah, especially because these are unlikely to come out until Friday. I don't think there's any sort of play. So yeah, that basically wraps up content. That's all the trading, all the investing, and everything that's been going on. So just to wrap it up, the market is favoured to be progressive till the 26th. If it stagnates for a day or two, then it's likely to go down, but it's quite unlikely for that to occur, especially because there seems to be more coins in this year's market than last year, meaning there's more chance of it consistently rising and rising. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the videos, as they will be live between around about 8 all the way through till 6:30. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.